Today I'm going to be commenting on this interview between LBC's Lewis Goodall and Richard Tice, somebody in the Reform Party. I'm not quite sure. Is he deputy or something like that? Nigel Farage's right-hand man, perhaps? I mean, obviously doesn't really have any power, does he? Because Reform is only one man, Nigel Farage. And it would be really interesting, actually, to find out whether Richard Tice got any money off of this Thai billionaire, or it was only 5 million to Nigel. So I'm sure that's going to cause issues. Anyway, let's have a listen to this and then I'll stop it at any point where I feel I need to comment.
I mean, it looks like, these are very early results, obviously, but nonetheless, it's clear there are some stonking reform gains. And, I'm talking to Labour people in different parts of the country, and they are in a state of despair about what they're seeing. Because, of course, at account, anyone who's never been to account, but you can sort of see the way that it's going because you can see the size of the bundles and so on. What do you think? What's at the upper end of what a reform performance could look like tonight?
Tonight and tomorrow, I think 1,500 seats, give or take, is obtainable. I'm an optimist, and anything more than that will be truly outstanding. And that's where we're at. And then you get into obviously the number of councils and things. And in some wards, councils counts, we're already hearing that the Labour tellers have given up. They've said it's not worth telling.
Do you want Keir Starmer to stay on?
No, we've campaigned. We've said vote reform, get Starmer out. He's been a terrible prime minister. He's sending the economy into a tailspin, and he's humiliated us on the international stage on issues such as the Chagos Islands, for example.
He kept us out of the Iran war.
He needs to go.
He kept us out of the Iran war, and I seem to remember that your leader and a lot of the right-wing press were all at your jingoistic best at the start of the war.
And Lewis, has that made any difference to any of the prices that we talk about? No, because we haven't got sovereign independence, and we're not
kept British soldiers out of harm's way.
Oil and gas wells. What they should do, the lessons to learn, is to be sovereign independent on energy.
You'll see with Richard Tice here that he will deflect away from anything that he finds uncomfortable. Now, Farage, Badenoch, they all called for joining the Iran war. They were all happy to sacrifice your sons and daughters, not their own, but yours, for what is essentially a legal war. Now, I'm fully in support of the Iran government being taken down, but not in this way. And it needs to be, much better planned. We need some kind of a deal or something to ask them to step down. So they do need a more democratic government in Iran. But at the end of the day, that is not Donald Trump or Nigel Farage's choice to make.
America's got cheap energy. Their gas prices have gone down since the beginning of the Iran war.
Well, how can we possibly? Yeah, but we don't have those sorts of energy resources.
Absolute nonsense, Lewis.
What?
If you drill wells in the North Sea like Norway are, they drilled 49 last year. We drilled none.
The North Sea, as you know, Richard Tice, the North Sea is a declining basin. There is no way. We haven't been self-sufficient in oil and gas for years. There is no way that we would be self-sufficient. Norway, as you know, is a country of 5 million people. The reason that they can be self-sufficient is because there's far fewer of them.
It's a really interesting argument, this argument about the North Sea, because Norway own the oil beds. We don't. They're sold. Margaret Thatcher got rid of them. Oil itself is priced and sold on an exchange. So any oil produced has to go through that, and it will be private. So if the North Sea is owned by a private company, if it's a private company doing the drilling, which is where most of the money is to be made, and then they're selling it on the exchange, the only opportunity we'll have to have that oil is if we buy it in the same way and at the same price as everybody else. There's no sovereignty in that. It's nothing at all. It's because the Reform Party and people like Tice and Farage are being funded by the oil companies. So they're pushing this idea. They get a lot of soft press. Most of the press in the UK love Farage, the Daily Mail, the Telegraph, the Times, the Sun, or most of the press, GB News, they've got their own advertising channel. Talk TV is practically just the Reform channel as well. They've 2 TV channels and all of the mainstream press. So they are just hoping that the average person is racist enough that they won't ask questions about this ridiculous oil idea, and Tice and Farage can get very rich off the back of it.
If we were to drill for more oil and gas, we would not have enough.
You're talking nonsense. There is a decade's worth of gas, shale gas in North Lincolnshire that would drive this country, bring prices down. If you increase the supply,
so you'd be happy to frack across the whole of the north of England, would you?
Where there's shale gas, it's our patriotic duty to bring our energy bills
down, reform,
bring our gas prices. Vote reform for lower bills, lower cost.
Vote reform, and vote reform, and you can have a fracking, and you'll have fracking near you. Is that your campaign slogan for the next election? Good luck, mate.
You'll have cheap gas, and do you know what people are complaining about? The cost of living.
People don't want cheap gas. We need to not use gas at all. We need to have renewables. Hydroelectricity, for example. I mean, we're an island. Let's do that. I don't think the idea of sitting in my house vibrating with the possibility of increased earthquakes is really going to be something I'm going to find enticing.
Energy. You need to get out more.
Do you know why, Richard Tice? Do you know why America is able to frack with such success? Exactly. It's because they frack in places like North Dakota, where almost no one lives. You want to actually frack? Are you saying in your backyard in Lincolnshire, where loads of people live, you'll be happy to have a load of fracking?
You know so little about what you're talking about. There are 20 million people in the US that live within 1 mile of a shale gas well, Lewis. And guess what? Their economy is growing. Their gas prices are a quarter of ours. And since the beginning of this war, their gas price has gone down.
The people of America, as far as business is concerned, don't really have any rights. Let's ask those people if there are 20 million people living within 1 mile of an area that is being fracked, whether they're happy with it. Because having seen lots of broadcasts and things about these data centers in Texas that are built in people's backyards, so they now have no water because all the water is being used to keep these hard drives cool for the AI revolution that is supposed to be happening. They're not happy with that. So he can spout all he likes about what America does and what they don't do. We're not America. We don't want to be America. We have one thing in common. We speak the same language. That's all we have in common. That allows us to watch lots of their media and television. But we're not America. We don't want to become America. Tice wants us to become America because at the end of the day, Farage and Tice, they want to do a huge Bitcoin pump and dump scheme when they get into power and make billions in the same way that Trump did.
Not up. So yeah, lots of gas. That is the way to bring our bills down, have lower energy costs, and that makes our industry more competitive rather than outsourcing it to China and other places. That makes people more prosperous, Lewis, like it was in the 80s and 90s.
Our bills won't come down. The gas is sold the same way and bought in the same way as the gas that comes from everywhere else in the world. So even if it comes from the North Sea, which probably the chances are it'll just be mostly drilling companies making a fortune, it won't bring our bills down. It doesn't come straight, it doesn't get pumped straight to the UK and all into our homes so we can use it. The companies, oil companies, will just make an absolute fortune, and if anything, it's going to make absolutely no difference to our bills whatsoever.
Okay, the 5 million that Nigel Farage received from your great benefactor Christopher Harborne. We've had a few members of your party on tonight, including your own chairman, who have sort of indicated to us or intimated that perhaps it wouldn't have been the wisest thing in the world. It would have been wiser for Nigel Farage to tell us all this had taken place, just to avoid any potential hint of a conflict of interest. Do you think it would have been a good idea if he told us?
There was no need to. It was an unconditional gift. He's complied with the rules. And at the time, he hadn't made his decision whether to come back into British politics. Why should he declare a personal private matter, which is an unconditional gift?
It wasn't unconditional, and he has broken the rules. You have to declare all your earnings for the previous 12 months. And it was within the previous 12 months. So this is what For Reform do. They keep repeating the same thing over and over again, telling you it's fine, telling you it's in the rules, telling you there's nothing to see here until people lose interest. The other thing about this 5 million question is while they were taking away Zach Polanski's Jewish identity in the press and claiming he's some kind of anti-Semite, which is just utterly ridiculous, nobody was asking about this 5 million. Nobody was asking about this 5 million until the voting booths had closed. It was only when the voting booths had closed, when it was too late, that they decided, you know what, it's going to look bad. Let's ask a few questions about this 5 million. It won't make any difference to the way people have voted now. We got what we wanted. They wanted reform. That's what they're getting.
And actually, I think that Nigel's security and safety, whether or not he is in politics, is, well, I think it's essential for this country. And I'm delighted that he's been able to feel safe and secure on the back of that, bearing in mind, of course, that the state refused to give him security and has reduced his security since he was elected back in July 2024.
Nigel Farage came out and said he couldn't do any local work. He couldn't do any surgeries, as they're called, meet constituents because it was too dangerous and the government wouldn't pay for his security and he wanted extra security. Now we find out that the entire time he trousered 5 million and was walking around with 5 million in his pocket, where he now pays for his own security. So will now Nigel Farage hold any surgeries in Clacton? Will he? Will he meet his local constituents and talk about the issues that are for them? Reform run on a platform of that's national. The councillors don't deal with any of these things, okay? So even for the councillors that have got in, we're talking about reducing immigration and, we'll bring down your bills. They can't do that. They've got to talk to people about fly tipping and making sure that there's enough in the budget for this thing that they want, or a brand new cycle path, or all the rest of the things that come with being a local councillor. And nobody in Reform is going to do any of that. They're just not. They made a right mess of it in Kent. They're going to make a massive mess of it in the rest of the councils they've got. I feel sorry for the people who voted for them, because your council tax is going to go up. I live in an area, unfortunately, which is governed by them, so my council tax is going up. I didn't vote for them, but there you go. As a working class person living on poverty wages, now I have to pay extra council tax because other people are gullible.
He's told us, as you say, that this 5 million is to be used for his security. Would he provide the country with evidence that this money has solely been used for his security?
He doesn't need to. It's an unconditional gift.
Well, yeah, you say it's unconditional. I want you to provide us with the proof that it's unconditional.
You might want all sorts of things. But the reality is he's complied with the rules.
Why wouldn't he do it? If he's got nothing to hide, why wouldn't he do it?
Because you'll never be satisfied, Lewis.
No.
He's complied with the rules.
Would be satisfied if he did that.
At the end of the day, Nigel's security and safety is a matter for him. I believe.
So show us the receipts.
I believe it's in the national interest. If the state was going to turn round, which it could have done, and it decided not to.
Okay, so if the state, so if Shabana Mahmood,
we will provide security. That's a different matter. But
okay, so if Shabana Mahmood turns around tomorrow and goes, actually, you know what, Nigel Farage, we will provide your security, would he give the 5 million back?
Well, the reality is the state's already refused it, so he had no choice. That's the point, Lewis.
Okay.
Look, the other point is, what you seem to be missing the point is, we're in the middle of election night, and guess what? We're going to be the massive winners.
Sure.
Because voters up and down the country, they know that under Nigel's leadership, then we can run our councils well, and then when a general election comes, they're giving a very clear signal they want to reform government.
And this is it in a nutshell. This is what Tice does. This is what Farage do. They just say boring, nothing to see here, then nothing happened, and they just deflect it. They just deflect everything and they move it on to whatever agenda they want. And if we had a better media, they would bite down a bit and dig into this, because I want to know what this 5 million has been spent on. This 5 million that he got from a crypto billionaire who doesn't even live in England, who lives in Thailand, who has paid Nigel Farage 5 million this time, although apparently I think it's around 27 million in total. Nobody gets a gift of that amount of money without it being for a reason. We're not silly, are we? We don't just get free money every week, do we? For no reason. Oh, here you go. Don't worry about it. Here, have some wages. I didn't do anything this week. That doesn't matter. You just have some wages. Go on. Free money. Nothing to see here. No, there's nothing you need to worry about. Nigel Farage and Richard Tice intend to relax all the rules about cryptocurrency when they get into government. They're going to do exactly what happened in America. They would do a huge Farage coin or something like that. They get a lot of poor people and a lot of uneducated people to buy into this with their life savings, or even not poor people, just gullible people. They get to buy into their life savings. They then dump all their stock and the stock price plummets. They make £1 billion. Everybody loses their life savings. They move on. Anyway, thanks for listening to my ranting. Very much appreciated.